Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at Kentucky Derby contender Combatant, a horse that has won at Churchill Downs, Mike, and his first couple of starts this year, I think you can make excuses for. The Smarty Jones, he got wired in a race where there was no pace by Maureen Yo, and then in the Southwest, you can make the argument, or can you, that if you switch trips with my boy Jack, Combatant wins.
Okay, yeah, I can see that being the case for sure, because he did get off the rail in that race, in a race that did set up for his running style perfectly. He didn't stay on the inside, and my boy Jack got to rally up the rail, which I guess was the place to be on that day. Combatant, if nothing else, he's an admirable closer. I mean, he's a horse who shows up and runs every time. It sort of feels like he's a cut below the top 3-year-olds, and he's probably got some distance limitations.
Now, after those two races at Oaklawn, they tried Magnum Moon. First in the Grade 2 Rebel Stakes, where we're going to see him finish third here. He's going to get into a little bit of traffic at some point, and then is going to finish very nicely. He's a game, hard-trying horse. And then in the Arkansas Derby, there really wasn't a lot of pace on for him. He was a little bit further back than I expected, and he still tried hard to finish fourth. That being said, I kind of wonder if he needs a shorter distance. He reminds me right now of a horse like Untrapped, an older horse from the Asmussen barn that has won at 1 1/8, but might want slightly shorter distances.
Yeah, I agree with all those things. I mean, going back to that Rebel replay we just looked at, it would have been nice to see him get second in that race, because he had a clear shot at second in there, and he just sort of got out-finished at the end. But that's him, you know. He tries every time, and he does his absolute best every time, but it just feels like, and especially in all 5 of his stake starts so far, he just sort of flattens out at the end of his races. I think these distances are probably a little too far for him.
He's one of 4 in this field, sired by the late Scat Daddy. Where do you think he'll be placed in the early portion of the Derby? We expect there to be a fast pace with a big field. Combatant's a kind of horse that he'll probably be sort of near the rear of the field.
No, I would think that him drawing into the Derby now, that he's, you know, one of the horses at the back of this pack, and then hoping that this race just sets up the right way for him. Maybe he comes running and he picks up some pieces. It's hard for me to see him winning the Kentucky Derby.
Is he the kind of horse that you can use underneath in the superfecta, or are you saying the distance is a little far, the competition is a little tough?
Yeah, I think both of those things are probably true for him. Do you use a horse like him in the super? You know, I don't see why you wouldn't. He's going to be a huge price, and I do think he will, you know, if nothing else, he's going to do his very best in the stretch. He'll probably try and run at the end. It just feels like he probably doesn't want to go this far.
He reminds me of Flame Away. They both have a lot of try and grit to them. That's Combatant seeking his 2nd lifetime win, but he's been very, very consistent for Steve Asmussen all year long, and he'll be a big price in the Derby.